Well, greetings and welcome to yet another edition here on CK Sports, where we talk about everything football. But because of the nature of what is happening on the African continent, in the East African region in particular, we shall always put our focus between now and probably the next 6 weeks on the 2024 African Nations Championship, or commonly known as CHAN, a tournament Uganda, Kenya, and Tanzania will be co-hosting from the 1st of February to the 28th of February. Today on the episode, we are privileged to be joined by the president of the Uganda Olympic Committee, Mr. Donald Rukare. Of course, with him, we shall not be talking tactics and stuff like that. But
Why not?
we are going to be discussing the impact.
It might help us a bit if we discuss tactics, yes.
We are going to be discussing the impacts, positive and probably negative, this tournament can have on a country like Uganda. Donald here, being the president of the Uganda Olympic Committee, he's a man that has traveled this world, not necessarily covering like I do, but he's been part of a different.
I've always been a de facto
events.
Press person, Clive. Just that.
In a way.
In many ways. Sometimes you're like a ball boy, press man, hat man, among other things. So yes.
Yes, but Donald, greetings and thank you for allowing to talk to us on CK Sports.
Well, first of all, CK Sports, Happy New Year to you, Clive.
Happy New Year
and
to
thank you to you for all that you're doing to amplify sports, not only in Uganda but on the continent. So it's good to be here on CK Sports.
How is UOC? The last time we were here
UOC is fine. We are kicking off the new year. We had our annual retreat over the weekend where we were able as a team to get the members of the secretariat and members, that's our staff, and the ExCom members to sit down just to kind of stop, pause and reflect on 2024. What were the key highlights? What did we do well? What didn't we do well? Where can we improve? But then also cast our eyes further to the new year, which has started 2025, and we think we're in good stead. So we look forward to an interesting 2025.
Yes, but of course you're also a former president of the Uganda Swimming Federation, which even up to date you affiliate to a lot because you still represent the country. As an athlete, it is also the sport that you've represented the country as an athlete in your active days as a swimmer. And over the years, the Uganda Swimming Federation is one of those that has actually hosted continental events.
True.
In Uganda. And probably before we look at the experience of the international events that you've been a part of, what kind of impact or legacy has these tournaments always left behind the country when we host them here?
No, definitely, Clive, as you said, for us in the ecosystem, hosting an event is definitely a very important thing. It's first of all an honor to be being able to host and let people come in and soak the atmosphere of the host country. So when you look at swimming, if I can go to then I'll come to football. Of course, they're kind of related. The principles are the same. When we hosted the then CANA or Africa Swimming Zone 3 in about 2026, 2020 to 2018, 2016, around there. 2016, I think, was the first one. We had 11 countries coming here.
11 African countries?
Yes, from the zone. So from our zone, we had all the 8 or 9 coming, and then we had visitors from Zambia, South Africa.
On average, each country has a delegation of how many?
It depends, between 10 to 25, 30 swimmers. So we had quite a bit, about over 400 people staying here for a week. So there are a number of benefits that come from hosting events like CHAN or any regional event or continental event or even international event. First of all, it gives the local federations or the local teams capacity, because you have to sort of learn the various facets. Like now I'm sure with football, there's a local organizing committee chaired by the First Lady, the overall committee, and then there are sub-committees dealing on different things from security, accreditation, transport, hotels, venues,
Did you make it on any subcommittee? Or?
No. I'm not involved in that. But for the swimming side, it was the same thing. We had a local organizing committee. We were able to have people who were in charge of the entries, the teams, airport drop-off, volunteers, hotel, security, food, medical. So it's a whole ecosystem. And the legacy of that is that it definitely also left us in a much better shape. After that hosting, swimming was never the same in Uganda. We had semi-electronic timing system installed. The level of interest from all the swimmers, we had about then 400, now we're close to 2,000
As a
swimmers as a country. So definitely the hosting has its benefits in terms of the legacy that it will leave with the National Federation, with the country and the wider system. So there's definitely every reason to encourage and support, even as a strategy. Hosting these events to me is something that we welcome, and it definitely has a lot of knock-on benefits.
Of course, before we talk about the CHAN, you've also, in your position as the president of the Uganda Olympic Committee, formerly General Secretary, you've also been in a position where you're part of a Team Uganda at all these events, predominantly the Olympics, the Commonwealth, and all that. But also at some stage, you find yourself probably that you're part of the planning team.
Correct.
On different committees or subcommittees in these countries. I want to believe that the CHAN is probably similar to that level.
The principles are the same.
How huge is it for us, a country like Uganda, together with Kenya and Tanzania, to be in this position?
No, it is huge, as I said, because the legacy potential is immense. First of all, we have to commend FUFA and Honorable Magogo and team and the government, because it begins, first of all, with the country and the potential host country, the host federation, putting together a bid. That's where you begin. So it has to be part of a strategy. Do you believe that you have the requisite facilities, human resource capacities, and all these things? So the fact that FUFA put itself forward, both for CHAN and AFCON, but it had to have the backup of government. And so you come together, conceptualize this, put together a bid. It wasn't automatic that would win. Other countries were also bidding for this. So the fact that we won the bids both for CHAN and for AFCON was a good endorsement from CAF that Uganda, together with our hosts, our co-hosts, Kenya and Tanzania, have the capacity to pull it off. Because you have to put your proposal. Do you have the facilities? Do you have the requisite infrastructure? How are your hotels? How is your security situation in the country overall? What is access to visas, for example? Maybe we don't have visas. Uganda has a very good visa regime. Our online visa system is one of the best. You can apply for a visa and get it in less than 24 hours. Really? And I'm sure they must have already negotiated with government that for most of the teams, probably maybe waive the visas or use. So there are a lot of, in other countries, it's very hard to get visas, and it makes access to these events, not only for the athletes, but also for the fans. Because remember, with CHAN and AFCON, it's not going to only be just the teams coming. There's also people who are coming in to host.
The fans, the journalists, and all the others.
Who we shall be hosting here in Uganda. So how easy is it to get a visa is a big issue. Do we have enough hotel beds of a particular quality and standard? How easy is it to move around the country? So in the case of now, East Africa, we are lucky that we have the e-visa, the East African visa. So if someone gets one, it can probably work for all the three countries. I don't know if Tanzania
I'm told actually not 3, 11 countries.
Yes, so it can help you move around without having to get multiple visas. Of course, it would be an issue. I wish we had a train system where you could easily just jump onto a train and be in Nairobi or Dar es Salaam, but we'll have to fly. But flying is, I think the farthest is an hour away. In any direction.
1 hour and 20 minutes, that's Dar es Salaam.
Yeah, and so really it's not that far. And I think with more people, the cost will also come down. So definitely there are many facets that come when so by the time the organizers or the people of the hosting rights say yes, Uganda, Tanzania and Kenya, we feel confident for people to come. It's a very big stamp of endorsement to the country and to the federation. And in any federation, whether it is football, swimming, we've had here badminton, we've had rugby, hosting African nations. So it's definitely, I think, something we need to keep as a country, as a strategy to keep hosting, because it helps us with all these different aspects.
Would you say that probably it is also an opportunity to tell the Ugandan story the right way. Because
Without a doubt.
On so many occasions, I was watching a clip of a lady from Ghana who was
I watched it. Has gone viral.
who was coming to Ghana, and she had read about all these bad things about Ugandans.
You don't have to even talk about the lady of Ghana. I have a personal experiences of just in December. We had someone who was visiting Uganda to do some work in the sports area, and for diplomatic purposes, I'll not mention the country or the person. But this happened. Forget about the clip of Ghana. I saw this myself. The person asked me, I'm coming to Uganda, and our doctor has advised that I should not think of coming because there's Mpox, there's Marburg, and eventually he came to facilitate a program. But Clive, what was so interesting, when we sat down and he showed me the list of the do's and don'ts that his medical doctor had given him. 1, do not eat any fruits in Uganda.
Yet we have the
2,
freshest
we have the best fruits in Uganda.
in the
2,
world.
do not don't wash your hands with tap water. I'm talking about last month. He had a long list
of the things he shouldn't do while he's here.
He was so worried that he's coming here, he's going to find probably killer mosquitoes on steroids and all these things. But after he has spent 2 days here, he discarded the list because we have the best fruits, the best weather, the best food, the beer. They didn't even drink anything. He probably even come with his own stuff.
The lady from Ghana had packed her own food.
Exactly. So these misconceptions are there. So when people come here and see for themselves what is on offer, it's a very good multiply effect. In fact, they act as ambassadors. Because a lot of people have, not only for Uganda, but many countries across the world, you sometimes, your worldview or your view of a particular country or people is shaped by what you see and read in the media. It's totally different from when you actually you go there and sort of see what's happening. And see, when you can reverse that. When some of us were growing, we had a view of what the glorious West looks like.
True.
I will not get into specific countries, but then when you travel to some of these first world countries, you're like, I thought everything here was gold, but when you get there, you really see some places that are worse than Kampala.
I mean, you can't wait for whatever took you to end so that you go back home.
Yes, so it's a mix and match. So it's even, everybody thinks that the West is probably Hollywood. No, what you see in the movies is just a particular viewpoint. So it's the same thing with these, and I think it's important that the powers that be understand the proper value and strength of sport. Because if you bring in 500 people, I think for CHAN and AFCON, we are looking at over maybe 3,000 people.
Coming in, there should be more than that.
Maybe more than that.
To get just Uganda or the region at large?
Into Uganda, I don't know. I don't check
it should
the
be
numbers.
more. It should be above.
That's a big number, and also not. So the actual people who will come in, the knock-on effect in terms of not only the sport but the tourism aspects, the night economy, the taxis, the hotels, the food. People are doing internet. It's like nyege. When you talk about nyege, you might have your own.
Are you saying nyege should have been organized around this time?
Maybe you may have your people have the carnival. You have all these things. You may have your moral views of certain things, but the value that it brings in terms of the economic benefits to a country are immense.
For me, I just wanted to expound more on the issue of telling the Ugandan story the right way.
No, telling the Ugandan, and that's why it's important that. Whenever we go, let's back up a bit. You said we go for these events. Whenever we go for these events, these international events, there's always a socio-cultural component. So I'm sure the folks within the organizing committee are aware of this because I've seen the list. There are a number of people there who have this international exposure. So they always organize events, not just the sports. They organize events where you can showcase and allow people to go and visit, for example, what Uganda has to offer. So we have the national parks. So I'm sure there'll be packages for people to come, go view Kasubi Tombs, go view the zoo, go to the River Nile, go up to our national parks that we have, go see the gorillas. So go see our museums. There's a lot of stuff. Go experience. I'm sure they can even things like arrange a safe border trip for people, the Rolex, those kind of things. Because whenever we travel, apart from the sport, there's always a cultural, social experience where when they even take us to the shopping districts.
Paris outdid themselves during the Olympics.
They'll tell you, if you want to go shopping, these are the areas, the restaurants. Enjoy, for example, a typical nyama choma experience of Uganda. A lot of when we get guests and we take them to some of these real typical places, we can have a cultural event in Dere Troop or other troops where you can go soak in the Ugandan culture.
The different meat festivals.
100%. So to me, it's an opportunity, and I'm sure that the planning teams are doing all these things to make sure that the crafts people can resell our crafts, our coffees. One of the best people, whenever we give them our coffee, they can't believe it. Uganda Waraji and Nile. It is one of the best-selling products for Uganda, and I'm sure you drink it a lot.
I'm shocked you're yet to talk about the coffee.
I said coffee already. Coffee is, whenever I travel, it is half of my luggage.
Okay.
Yes, I'm an ambassador on that because it's what truly, whenever you give anybody taste our coffee or tea, they say, Don, whenever you're coming. Other people, for example, swear by our avocados. Yeah, so one time I take one or two to people where it's allowed to travel with food. But our avocado apparently is one avocado here, which we someone was telling me they pay €15 for one in some countries. €15 for one. €15 can buy you a whole tree here.
Oh, a whole truck.
Yes. So definitely the sporting hosting brings a lot.
Because for me, I remember the first tournament I covered of the African continent was the Commonwealth Games in the United Kingdom at Birmingham. And for me, that is where I had a change of mindset. And it wasn't only the journalists, but all the people who were involved, even the locals who were involved in the tournament, the volunteers, just ordinary people, cab drivers, stuff like that. Like how they embraced this and they were desperate to let you know that actually where you are in the best place in the world.
Correct.
It was the same case during the World Cup in Qatar. It was the same case at the Paris Olympics. But also time and again, we've always been described as the most hospitable society 100%. For the people who have been in this country. So we should actually ride on that to make sure that whoever is coming in this country lives with that mark of Uganda being the most
hospitable. And they'll
come
back. Yeah, there'll be without a doubt, because Ugandans are very hospitable in many ways. One, we have people are very welcoming. Two, it's very, despite everything people say, it's very secure to move around compared to most countries where you cannot just say you can walk until 4 a.m. Of course, there are a few.
They will always be there. There are places you should be able to avoid.
Be careful
not
where
to
you
get
go.
into trouble.
But overall, here in Uganda, people can walk around at 3. We have a very thriving night system. So definitely, and
3 is very early. People can walk around at 4 or 5.
Well, that is for you, Clive. For me, I don't know what I would be doing up at 4. But my doctor advised that I should get a nice 8 hours. But definitely, those are the aspects that these kind of events, the potential they bring. And that's why it's not just the football or the swimming or the basketball or the rugby, but it's what is around it. There's a whole ecosystem around it. And if harnessed well, it can tell the story of Uganda quite well.
When you talk about the safety bit of it, our ladies national team, the Crested Cranes, are coached by a South African lady, Shirley Bottes. And I remember her first interview that she gave. She was revealing some of the things that convinced her to accept the job because she had a reservation. And in some of our conversations with the CEO of the Federation, Edgar Watson, she complained about the safety. And Edgar Watson actually told her that Kampala or Uganda is actually safer than Johannesburg, where you're living.
100%.
And she did her research, and actually the stat was true. Kampala was safer than Johannesburg. And it was on that one of
Kampala is even safer than most cities in the US because likely you'll get shot up in a mall.
And it was on that merit that she actually accepted that job, because she knew that the place I'm going to is secure.
It goes back to the perception, the media, and people still think Idi Amin is still around, in some jurisdictions. So definitely Kampala and most of in fact, as you even go out of Kampala, it's much more safer. People still have that humanity, that Ubuntuism. People are welcoming. We don't have a lot of pushback, discrimination issues. So to me, those are some of our selling points. But I think also the other big selling point, Clive, here for us, apart from the hospitality, the legend of Ugandans, is we have the best weather, 24 hours, the best food. The fruits here are out of this. It's organic, fresh food. Those alone, plus of course the other things like the best drinks,
How do you know about the drinks? You don't
drink
them,
I don't drink, but I make it my business to know. As I said, I take we have a good friend, Rob Walker. He swears by Nile Special.
The Nile Special is in his DNA
recently,
now.
I've got some converts to the new Uganda Waraji with Jinga. Yeah, it's a
The
big
coconut.
seller. There's a new one with Jinga. There's the coconut, there's a Jinga, and these are big sellers. So to me, there's a whole potential. Our crafts, when you see the kind of thing that people, I remember when we traveled one time, Clive, we all were coveting. See, this mind, decolonizing the mind is important. We're coveting having the Nike bags. And these bags cost about between 80, some of them, to $200. And we got Bikoi rucksacks. You know the Bikoi rucksacks?
Yeah.
Which people say, they are local.
They're local here.
Yes, but the US team and other teams who had these, what we thought were nice bags, when they saw our Bikoi, they were like, we want them. Within 10 minutes, all our bags had been exchanged. And they wanted more. They wanted those ones where we want. I mean, that was the irony. Yet we also said,
those who didn't get were like, where can I get
these? And that's one of the things I think about, that you will see merchandising and whatever. It's something we need to think about quite.
You talk about the crafting. There's that street. Is it Buganda Road?
Yes.
I mean, it's a
Africa. Yes, yeah, that one, and the former
African Village.
And African Village, and there's also one at the theater.
I mean, you go there and you're amazed of the things
Correct.
you can do and go away with.
Yeah. So to me, these are things that we really need to think about. That those Bikoi bags, the rucksacks, believe you me, they were, that's a sold out, but they were finished in record time. And we had to find a way of how do we get more, because everybody wanted that one. Yet our guys wanted the other one. So it was a bit of an interesting.
We have what the whole world wants, but we don't appreciate
and we take it
as
for
something
granted.
that is unique.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's why when I know there's a good friend of ours, Ambassador Malango, she's trying to do these, having a lot of homegrown products with one of her groups here in Kampala, and we want to talk to them about how can we co-create some of these products. You know, instead of being very hung up on products that are made in the West, we can also have some of these products. Yeah.
You remind me, there was a time I was interviewing Leo Deng, is now the president of the Basketball Federation in South Sudan.
Yes.
Yeah, played in the NBA and all that. And we were off air, but he had been watching a lot of TV over the weekend. And you know, these wedding programs are always around on Sundays and all that. And all the programs he was watching, people were suited up, ladies in gowns and all that. And he was wondering why people dress like that, yet they have their own traditional wear.
100%. I think and some countries in Africa, especially West Africa, have slowly changed that narrative.
True.
Even now, some tribes here insist on, Angela, you must put on the traditional wear, which is very important.
Yes, but Don, the tournament is here in less than 3 weeks. Personally excited that we have an international
I am
tournament
excited,
coming
as
to
I said
Uganda.
earlier, because this is, I think, a dry run for AFCON.
Yeah, true.
So it will help us sort of begin to understand the magnitude of having close to, I think, 10 or so, you know, the teams more than me.
I mean, it's a total of 18 or 19,
Yes,
but we don't know how many
will
will
be in
in
Uganda. So it's going to help us sort of understand how our facilities are. Let's begin from people coming in. So will they get their visas seamlessly? I'm sure they will. Our airport is a very small but easy to get through. It's not complicated.
By the way, not complicated
It's not.
at all.
There are some airports you'll get there and get lost, or
You
get
need a
robbed.
bus to
you
get to your gate or
So
something.
it begins from that experience, the pre-arrival arrangements. When you get here, airport entry, hotel, your accreditation is proper. How is the security? We believe people they don't have any. There are certain times we've gone for events, Clive. I remember one, again, for diplomatic purposes, I'll not mention the country, but there was food poisoning.
Where? At the hotel, at the village? Or?
In the hotel, on the hotels. So it was a big problem for the delegates, and there was contaminated food. So they had to now accredit certain restaurants where we could go and not go. Okay. So those small things, they look small, but you know, it's important to look at them. So you come in, you're welcomed. You go to your hotels. The hotels, we have good hotels here. The transport will be good. You get your accreditation. Security will be good. The food will be good.
Kampala to Nambola is not very far.
And then the stadium is ready. You play. The nightlife is good. And medical, I'm sure if there's medical issues, in case there's any problems, touch wood, there will be none, but in case there are any. So all those things come together. The volunteers are available to help people do the different things, the shopping experience, the soaking in the different acts. I'm sure there'll be other social activities, maybe some concerts or like Formula One, for example. When you're going to watch Formula One, they always bring huge stars.
To be part of the experience.
To be a part of the experience. So you'll find, Alicia Keys or Snoop Dogg or whatever at the Olympics. I saw you in Snoop Dogg's concert.
Pugari.
Yes. So there are very many things, and I'm sure the team is planning all these things of how do we just ensure the football is the main thing, but
of course,
things around it.
What do you do outside the football? You woke up in the morning, your team is not playing, there are no games in Uganda.
How do you
what
go
are some of the
spend?
activities?
Can you go for a short, quick drive to see the rhinos So it's going to be. I'm excited, and it will also, as I said, for me, excited from all those, but also the main fact that our facilities are being worked on and ready. It's really a game changer for us.
The issue of our facilities, of course, like you did say, the big one is the Africa Cup of Nations in 2017. We got the confirmation that we shall be hosting the CHAN just the other day. But it looks like facilities are already taking shape in the country.
Yes, I've seen you
for CHAN.
Not being around Hoima, which is good. And we definitely commend the government, our minister, Ogwang, and the First Lady and the National Council of Sports, our good friends Ambrose and Dr. Well. It's good that these things are now happening. And definitely having a facility or facilities in Hoima, in Lira and Kampala is going to be a game changer, because it's not just having this, but once they are ready, we host CHAN first in Nambole. The training pitches are being done.
Because the training pitches are also being done in a way that they actually qualify to host local league events.
Exactly. And another big debate or discussion that has to be had, or something, and I'm sure they take it, is that it's one thing to build all these nice, magnificent facilities, but the sustainability and maintenance plan has to be put in place. And once that is done well, then the legacy, that's why we have to have an integrated strategy. How are we ensuring that we are able to not just host after CHAN, then what? After AFCON, then what?
Yeah.
We have to have a pipeline of where we have a deliberate policy of saying, we now begin to sit down as a country and say, talk to the federations, talk to the different powers that be, and say maybe as a strategy, as a country, we want to host 2 to 3 international events, regional events every year. So that we have it. We talk to the hotel people, we talk to the airlines, we talk to the transport people. I'll give you an example. I saw something very innovative in Tokyo.
During the Olympics.
During the Olympics, but also we had gone for swimming for Fukuoka. What they did is that when we arrived, sometimes they hire buses or cars to bring you. But this time around, what they did is that they used the local taxis.
Okay.
So that everybody gets a piece of the action. So arrive at the airport, and instead of having buses and whatever, you could have a deal with the taxi operators in Entebbe and say, we first...
You weren't paying for the taxi as long as you were accredited?
They were paid. No, from the airport to your hotel. Okay. So the local organizing committee paid the taxi guys.
From the airport to the hotel?
Yes. Because normally they would hire anyway to bring teams from Entebbe to wherever. So delegates. Of course, if it's a team sport, it's slightly different. But if they're coming, you can arrange for individual people to come in. So the taxis were first verified that they're okay, they're safe, they meet a certain standard. And then they're actually black clubs. So you arrive, black club to your table. And also from the hotels to the venues during the games, we're using those cabs. So the taxi guys felt that yeah, so those things can be, instead of giving a tender to Clive Tours only.
No, my experience with the black cab during the Commonwealth Games is not very good.
Well, if it was an individual black,
yes, it was.
I know. I can imagine. You are seeing the meter.
Oh God! I regretted. I was like, what was I thinking?
No, but that's a story for another day, Clive. I know what you mean. When the meter is going up, and again, those are some of the things.
Somebody's then crossing on your dinner and lunch for the next 3 days.
For the whole week.
For the whole week.
I know what you mean. And we have all gone through that when you begin squiggling in your seat when you see it going to 30 to 40, 60 euro.
Yeah, but Don, last we wind up. What message do you have for a Ugandan who is probably skeptical about all this?
No,
that
I
is
think
coming
Ugandans,
around?
we are always skeptical. I think it's a national pastime to be skeptical.
It's in our DNA.
But I think let us all get behind our teams. Let's get behind.
I don't think only
football.
team, country. We should
The country. I was coming to that. I was saying we begin with the team first, the local organizing committee and the country, because it's an integrated system, Clive. And I agree with you. So we get behind our country. Let's come out. Let's put our best foot forward. Let's see how we can all, in different aspects, be part of it. Whether you are on the route, whether you're next to the stadium, let's support the teams. But definitely, for me, I am very, very optimistic. I'm very happy, very supportive. It can only get better. So we wish, you know, the organizing committee, local organizing committee, and the team that are preparing for CHAN and eventually AFCON all the best. We call all Ugandans to come out and support us. Let's not have this pessimistic approach. And even let's be very careful what we post out there on social media.
True.
Let's be patriotic, because sometimes if we post things which are not true,
It goes back to what I said.
then
we have an opportunity to tell the Ugandan
we
story
have to
the
tell
right
our
way.
story. I think let's all, for once, let's be patriotic. It's not about his own funam, but if people come in, it helps all of us improve and the country, because you get some action from the hotels, the taxis, the people who sell pork, everybody, and even just bringing people, like you said, those volunteers. I used to interview them, and would ask them why. I say, you see, we're happy that people are coming here. And they would want to show you and tell you about their country. So why can't we have the same kind of passion for our country? Yet we can tell our story. This is a Uganda, the Pearl of Africa, the place where we are the most hospitable people, and there will be a knock-on effect. So to me, it's really something to
Actually,
support.
for me, after the Commonwealth Games, all the places I've been to and I'm asked where I'm from, I don't only say I'm from Uganda. I'm like, I'm from the most beautiful place in the world,
Correct.
Uganda. Because people need to know that actually where you come from, despite the fact that you have all these challenges.
We should take out the politics from it. I know there are a lot of political issues. There's a political season, but those are there, and those can be discussed and handled in the political realm. But in the sporting realm, let's, for these few from the first of
like
Feb,
we've been during these qualifiers.
Yes,
now we've
let's
been
just
behind the
come
Uganda
together
Prince.
and galvanize behind Uganda and sort of say we are gifted by nature, and let's sell our country.
Yes, Adon, as we get out of here, I usually ask people if they have a katare keka.
Let's get behind the team. We wish them all the best. But as I said, we commend the government and the ministry for this deliberate now focus on facilities. But let's have an integrated strategy that looks at how do we maintain, build, operate, maintain, sustain, but also then now what's our strategy to ensure that these facilities are used
operational,
properly
so that they don't
in terms
turn
of
into white elephants.
So we can now bid to host a number of events post 2025, post 2027. Yeah.
Well, that's our discussion with the president of the Uganda Olympic Committee, Mr. Donald Rukare, a very, very optimistic man, just like me, going into the 2024 African Nations Championships. Shows like these are going to continue to be broadcast on our YouTube channel, CK Sports. So we encourage you to subscribe, we encourage you to like, we encourage you to communicate, we encourage you to share with your different circles. Clive Chaze is my name. We've been here at the offices of the Uganda Olympic Committee in Lugogo. See you again in the next episode.